Thank you, Dave. It's an honor to me to be here in this very important event to present the Middle Ordovician giant trilobites of the Canelas quarry in the Aroca UNESCO Global Geopark in Portugal. In effect, there are the fossils of the largest trilobites ever found, witnessing a very active social life. So, my name is Artur Sá. I'm professor at the University of Trás-os-Montes El Douro and also the scientific coordinator of the Aroca UNESCO Global Geopark in Portugal. I'm the responsible for this presentation together with the team of the Aroca UNESCO Global Geopark. Well, Aroca is a small village in the municipality with the same name, very near of Porto City, about 1 hour driving there. But it's a very beautiful place in the middle of a mountainous area. It's not easy to achieve Aroca despite the roads, because it's a kind of a cul-de-sac. When people goes to know Aroca, you need to go there. It's not something that you can stop when you are in the way from 2 big cities. No, you go on purpose there to find. And I will show you a small village here, or better, a quarry in a very small village named the Canelas. And it's there that exists a quarry when we are founding giant trilobites from the Middle Ordovician. But making a geological context about this outstanding paleontological outcrop, it's inside. These are the Hesperian Massif, the biggest piece of the Variscan orogeny in Portugal. So we have here the territory of the Aroca UNESCO Global Geopark, and here we can see that we are inside the central Iberian zone in a very well-known structure known as Valongo Anticline. But in effect, we are already in the western limb of this structure when we have outcrops of the Lower Ordovician, Middle Ordovician, Upper Ordovician, Silurian, and the late continental Carboniferous. And in both sides, we have the Neoproterozoic Lower Cambrian in age sediments. That it's very nice, because due to the recent geological works done in the field, we realized that this structure, effectively, that we have a trench here, divides two different pre-Ordovician basins, and is also important for that. So tectonically, it's a kind of impossibility to found these fossils and with these characteristics there, because tectonically all the fossils are have deformation, and several up to 15% of this gigantism is related with tectonics. We know that because we estimate this in the graptolites, and the graptolites are independent from the bottom conditions, so the fauna has the same size. So we found in several slabs with the giant trilobites. We found sometimes graptolites, and the graptolites have an increase up to 15% bigger than the normal size. But in effect, we have giant trilobites there. Here, with more detail of this, and in the log, you can see that the trilobites appear, the giant trilobites start to appear here we estimate is the transition of the Permian to the Rivillian, and in the Valongo formation is the name of these Middle Ordovician shales, achieved this middle Darwinian, so the transition from the regional Mediterranean scale from the Ortenian to the Rotivian. It's very interesting because the workers in the quarry they know exactly the levels that bring these giant fossils. They said that there are vines. They have initially two, but sometimes three vines of giant fossils. It's very interesting because during a long time we asked why we found these giant fauna, especially the trilobites, in Aroca and not in Valongo. But in effect, during a long time, previous to the discovery of Isotellus rex in Newfoundland, the biggest trilobite was a trilobite found in Valongo. So the conditions, the structure of the bottom of the ocean during this time surely conditioned strongly the move of these giants to this deep area in between the transition in the oxic and anoxic conditions, and when many of them we interpret that are possibly scavengers that are feeding in the bottom with the remains of the others. So this is the picture of the quarry from northwestern to southeastern. You can see the shales, the levels. This is the area of the transformation of the quarry, and these have a very beautiful history behind. In the previous conference, Isabelle Rouget shared with or asked with us what we have done to preserve this. And here we have the luck to have a man that was the owner of the quarry that fell in love for these fossils, and was a passion that led him to protect these. He spent a lot of time, spent a lot of money, he spent in fact his life truly protecting these fossils. To give you another view about the quarry, we have the Cambrian schist gravax, the quartzites, the Armorican quartzites facies, so the Santa Justa formation, and we have the shales with part of the Arnesian, the Pùngué here, and here starts the quarry with the levels of the giant trilobites. Another two views of the quarry. It's very interesting because it's preserved the original front of the original quarry when the grandfathers of Manuel Valerio is the name of the man that protected these fossils, starts to discover fossils, taking roofing slates for the local houses, there are beautiful histories that during the middle 19th, people interpret this as the remains of the deluge, are strange fishes that that are the remains of the deluge. And after they start to offer this to a local doctor that brought the trilobites to Lisbon and start to be studied in the middle of the 20th century. And the original front of the quarry still preserved till now. And this man, Manuel Valério, every day went to the quarry and to look to the front of the quarry to see if appeared giant trilobites and to give instructions to remove these carefully and to protect. And during the process of the rocks to obtain the roofing slates, all the workers have instructions to, if something appears that is different from the rock, must be put apart in order to be observed and to see if it is something important. And with this simple methodology, we already protected thousands of fossils of really high scientific interest. And some of the final products that are selling, and he built his dream, a small on-site museum. And during the building of this appeared the idea to create, to develop the Arouca UNESCO Global Geopark that today is one of the vibrant members of the Global Geoparks network. When many of the most important samples of these giant trilobites are on display and attract people all over the world. Initially, the first recovers of these giant fossils was from Nery Delgado, a very famous Portuguese paleontologist. The first study published about the giant trilobites was by Décio Tadeu, and here you can see Manuel Valério. To me, is something that is emotional because unfortunately he passed away about 1 year ago. For example, he convinced the locals to put a trilobite in the middle of the coat of arms of Canelas. And this, in fact, shows the importance that the locals give to this geological heritage. And more recently, Juan Carlos Gutiérrez Marco, Isabel Rábano, and myself, they were my mentors, so the team of three, we work hardly on the study of these fossils, and for sure we have more work to do in the future regarding these. But this local already attract several of you in this room during two big events during the fourth International Trilobite Conference, the Trilo 08, and during the meeting of the International Subcommission on Ordovician System that went there. They could experience this outstanding outcrop. And here some of the examples. Here, a rolled trilobite, but Mark Bell from Southampton University took some measures in the morphologic characteristics, and these trilobites have 86.5 centimeters long. It's something more or less with the height of this podium. So mathematic assemblage, we know that due to the fact that some trilobites have the hypostome inside, a very beautiful carapace of a giant trilobite with small Placoparia hide behind. So this not interpreted like in Feijoada, that a procession that we also have, but here we interpret like a previous worm tube when 3 different species are hide from predators, so from the cephalopods, that we have some bites of the cephalopods. So here was developed many of the understanding of some of the behavior related also specifically for the trilobites. And to finish, this was already published in geology, and in 2009 this article was one top 10 downloads articles in Science with more than 1.3 million of downloads. Unfortunately, have only 78 citations. This can show us that probably people are looking for this title of the Nature in Research highlights. So a Middle Ordovician orgy that results from the interpretations related with the behavior of these giant trilobites. So, muito obrigado. Thank you so much.